and just asking a really, really important question about entrepreneurship and whether you're actually an entrepreneur.
Okay, I am done. It is recording now, and you are back as the host.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, three of the questions that I think that are really important with entrepreneurship is just having a desire and a discipline to plan, work, and sacrifice in order to successfully transform your idea into a reality. And I'm sure that Tiffany can agree, and many of the other seasoned business owners that are on this Zoom, is just that you have to have desire, discipline, and you must sacrifice as an entrepreneur. There are some times that entrepreneurship has highs and lows. I've experienced that even as an attorney, especially with the pandemic. And you have to really ask yourself, do I still want to be in business? How is this business affecting my work life balance and my personal life? And so there are a lot of questions that I think as an entrepreneur, um, that you have to ask yourself. But when I ask myself those questions, there's nothing that I would rather be doing than running my business. I love my business, it's my babies. I've sacrificed a lot for my businesses. And so for me, I just don't think that I would be happy doing anything else. And so, whether it's law, whether it's doing my music business or some of the other ventures that I have dealing with um, real estate. I just love doing it. I get a rush out of doing business. So you have to have that passion and that love for it to really, really take you through the lows of business. So the second question I would ask is, are you ready, willing, and able to work harder than you ever have before? And so as an entrepreneur, um, it's your business, it's your baby. So I can find myself sometimes staying, later than everyone else that I employ because at the end of the day, it's my business, it's my brand. And so I want to make sure that what I'm putting out into the world is representative of my business and how I want to show up in the world. And so also having confidence and discipline is really important. As an entrepreneur, you're not going to have someone that prompts and prods you to go and be successful unless you have a coach. But even then, that's somebody that you're retaining to remind you, but you have to have some discipline about yourself to be able to go and really, really do what it needs to do to put your business out there every day and really have some discipline. So the comment is if you've answered no to any of these questions, you might not be ready for entrepreneurship simply because it does take some sacrifice. So, money can't be the only driver in entrepreneurship. I believe that you have to have something more than money that's driving you and that's driving you to start whatever business that you want to drive. We all want to make money, right? But you can make money doing easier things than running your own business. So I think that to actually be a business owner and be an entrepreneur, you have to have something that really drives you and that you want to put out in the world, something that you want to say about your business. Okay, so developing your business idea is really important. Sometimes when people come and sit down with me as a business attorney, and we're actually talking about their idea, a lot of what I do is to strategize with people and to kind of help them sort through whether they're ready to incorporate this business or not. And so sometimes people find themselves after they've had a consultation with me needing to go back and flesh out their business idea or their business plan a little bit more and then coming back to incorporate their business. So you want to develop your business idea. What is your idea or product? And if it's something that you're putting out there that people have already put out there, you want to make sure you do your research and figure out how I can distinguish myself from what's already in the marketplace. What's going to make people decide to go with you versus another person doing the same thing. And so that's one of the things that I was talking about is just when you're purposeful and when you can explain that to people, you might have someone that connects with you, even though someone else is doing the same thing. So I think knowing your skills, what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and then the need or demand for your good or services. So, as an attorney, I found out that during this pandemic, my business actually increased because more people were incorporating their own businesses because they were fired from their traditional jobs. And so they kind of, had to bootstrap and start their own business. And so a lot of entrepreneurs are budding in what's going on now. And so you'll see a lot of people say that millionaires are made, millionaires, billionaires even are made in the midst of pandemics. And it is something that's true because you see a lot of people really being creative, really getting their own ideas together. So just knowing that you should have a business plan for your business. I always recommend that people have a business plan. I know that some of the funding organizations require a business plan, such as Lift Fund, People Fund. They're going to require you to have a business plan before they even give you funding because they want to make sure that you do have a plan and a purpose for your business. You have a roadmap. And so a business plan is going to provide a blueprint for your business and highlights your ideas, your strategy, and your organization. It can be used in the future by you and other professionals, such as bankers, investors, and potential partners. And so I think that a business plan is really important. Tiffany, is that one of the things that you actually work with people on is doing a business plan, right?
Yes, I do. That
That's
is
one of
one
the
of the things
services.
that one of the business services that we offer.
Okay. And so just understanding the importance of that and really fleshing out your business idea, super important for your business. I say to me, getting just starting a business and not having a business plan is like going somewhere, you jumped in the car, you're not exactly sure of where you want to go, and you're dealing with things as they come along versus to have a plan with it. And it should be a living document. You should go back to it. You should redo your business plan quarterly or annually even. But it's not something that you just prepare and then you put it on the shelf. This is your roadmap for your business. You're checking out the metrics. You're looking at the financials on your business plan. You're looking at a lot of other things that are going to help you to become a successful business. And so I think that this is something that's really, really important. So I talk to people about this even before they incorporate or during the process is just, do you have a plan? Because we want to make sure that you don't incorporate and go into business and then go out of business the next year. So choosing the right business, there are plenty of options for choosing a business. Sometimes people choose a franchise or they're purchasing an already existing business because you know that you are purchasing a viable business. I definitely think that for me, my community, people of color, um, I think that I am trying to put more education about the importance of not just creating a business for yourself, but creating a business as an asset, which means that you can create a business, develop it, and actually sell it and create another business. And so a lot of entrepreneurs do this all the time. They will create a viable business model, turn it into a lucrative business, and I mean, sell it for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so choosing the right business and having the right structure is really, really important. Deciding if you want a franchise, or am I going to create a model that's going to be a franchisable model? Do I want to create this model for other people to buy into my business? Just how are you going to develop the revenue is really, really important. And as part of the conversations that I have with some of my clients when they come in, we don't just file their business and then they're done. We talk about, the strategy of business, and just to make sure that this is something that they want to do and that it's well thought out. So just getting, do I have any questions about any of those things that I went over? I can't see the chat because I'm on the full screen. Is
That's okay.
anybody
If anyone has any questions, and if right now we don't have any in the chat, but if they have questions, I'll fill them for you. And when you take a break, or when you have a break in conversation, I'll let you know. But if you guys have
okay?
any questions about the four basic legal structure types or what she just went up reviewed, drop it in the chat and I'll be sure to share.
Thank you. Okay, so for basic legal structure types, you're going to see sole proprietorship, um, a partnership, and that can be both general, limited, a corporation, which is an S corp and a C corp. We've heard a couple of people talk about having an LLC with a C corp with an S corp filing, um, or a limited liability company, which is an LLC. One of the most popular forms of legal structure that I get requests for. Okay, so just going over the sole proprietor, it's going to be simple to own. This is an official, it is a legal structure. It's called an unincorporated legal structure, but it is a legal structure. And so it's simple to form. You're going to have one owner, and you can file a fictitious name certificate in some states, which is called the DBA. But the thing about a sole proprietorship is that it is not legally separate from its owner. This business structure is the most risk of all of them. It has the most risk out of all the legal structures because you and your business are considered one person. There is not a separation of liability from the owner. And so I tell my clients, I mean, as soon as you're trying to make any type of money, or if you have the budget, you want to go ahead and incorporate as soon as possible because you don't want something that has happened in your business or another business that is totally separate from this one, to be able to cause you to have legal liability in court. And there are some other things that you can do to still have legal liability, even if you are incorporated. And we'll get into some of those things a little bit later on. But you definitely, as soon as possible, you don't want to continue to be a sole proprietor while you're actually in a profitable business. It is very risky. um, we see people sued all the time, and sometimes people are actually sued, and now they're trying to go and incorporate, because the person is going to sue um, them. And I mean, they're suing the DBA, so that means that you're drug into the suit. All of your assets are at risk. That means that they don't have to pierce any corporate veil, which is a saying that I'll get into with some of the corporate companies. That means that they can go straight to you, and to be if they win the lawsuit, then those can attach against your personal assets. So definitely very risky. Don't want to stay in that category of the sole proprietor if you're doing business.
So Shakitha, can you give an example of personal assets? Because I want to drive that point home. So can you give an example of what personal assets could potentially be at risk?
Absolutely. It could be funds in your checking account. It could be your car that you're driving. It could be your home. I mean, anything that is personal that you own, equipment in your business, um, can anything that you own personally, if someone wins suit against you and they're trying to pursue getting that judgment, it can attach against your personal assets. Oh, also, when you're trying to file taxes, some of those judgment can come and, scoop up that tax, if you have any tax benefits or tax plus, it can definitely take that. So
All right, and we do have a quick question. T Coop wants to know what is a good basic legal structure type for a media production company? And I think you might be getting to that.
the most popular structure. So one of the things that I don't think I slid past that slide, but I'm going back on up to it. So this is for educational purposes. So I definitely can do educational things. I can give you information about it. But as far as legal advice to a personal entity, I cannot give that in this open setting because I would need to have more information about your business, what your goals are in order to actually recommend a specific type of entity. So Unfortunately, I don't do that in open sessions. I will answer questions if they're general enough, but when it's specific, when you're asking me for specific legal advice, that goes more into client relationship. And I don't build that on an open educational platform. That just would expose me and my bar license, and I don't want to do that. But what I can say is one of the most popular structures is the LLC. And the reason why the LLC is the most popular is because it's informal. It does not have the formal requirements of some of the other companies and corporations.
I have another
Okay.
question. It
Okay.
says, hold on one second. Okay, this one is from Arbery. And it says, what if the business is closed, but the DBA is still valid? Should you close the DBA?
I'm not sure I understand that question. So you're saying that you have an incorporated business that's an LLC. You've filed to close the LLC, so you withdrawn it from the Secretary of State. And
Hi, excuse me. No, ma'am. Can you hear
okay,
me?
yes, I can.
Hi, how are you? So
I'm
what
doing
it
well.
is I have a business that is closed. It's not active anymore, but the DBA is good for how many ever years. So it's good through, I don't know the year exactly, but what I'm saying is it was a beauty barber and tattoo shop. So if someone was to sue, I don't know, down the road or whatever, that would affect me because it's not a LLC, but the business is not active anymore. Do you see what I'm saying?
So that's not exactly accurate. Once again, that's more one-on-one. I will generally provide educational information about that. And so the first question that I would ask is when you provided the service, or like what were the years that you provided service, because that's what will be looked at when the LLC was involuntarily terminated or voluntarily terminated, and then what years the DBA was active. And so that's going to be some of the questions that a court would look at in reference to that. But what you would want to do is if the business is inactive, you would want to withdraw your DBA from the whatever your local county is, or if it was filed with the Secretary of State, you would want to withdraw that.
Thank you. That's what I meant by close. Okay, withdraw it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so just the next overview of legal structures is going to be partnership. And so partnership is so interesting because people think that you have to have official documentation to form a partnership. Not true at all. So a partnership is very easy to form in Texas. And so the requirements for a partnership are simply to be doing business with another person with the intent to turn a profit, right? So if you're collecting profit, it's two people in business, you're a partnership. Now, whether you formally created a structure or whether you formally talked about how the partnership will run, um, that can not be done and you could still have a partnership. So you have to really be careful with that language, really be careful about doing business and getting in business with someone else without the proper terms. And so some notes that I put about partnerships are it's not separate from its owners. It's two or more owners that share ownership. There's no formal organization requirements, which is just what I referred to, and there's no limit to liability for general partnerships. So this is the second most risky type of um, structure to form. And then the fact that it's so easily formed, you definitely want to make sure that if you are doing business with someone and you're collecting a profit off of business, or you're collecting any type of money or monetary gain, that you have outlined what the business requirements are. Otherwise, it defaults to partnership. Limited partnership is going to be something that is created by filing a certificate of formation, and that limits your exposure and your liability in the partnership. And so it's a type of partnership that has one general partner that has unlimited liability, and then the other partners have limited liability. This is formed by filing a certificate of formation with the Secretary of State. And even if you do have a general partnership, one of the owners can be another business, such as an LLC or another company. Do I have any questions about that? So you have to be careful about that language. If you have a business and you're doing business with another business and y'all getting profit, y'all can have a general partnership without you filing anything.
Okay. Thank you, because I was not aware of that. We don't have any questions right now, but that
Okay.
was a good nugget.
All right. All right, so we have the C corporation. And so your C corporation is a formal corporation and it's legally separate from its owners. There are articles of incorporation that are required to be filed. There are annual filings that are required to be filed, and the fees differ state to state. You're going to get a tax ID number that is specific to the corporation. So this is a formal structure type. Um, it has formal meetings that are a requirement. Your formal board is required in order to solve this, to form the structure. And so it provides a lot of protection for its members or for its owners because it is so formal and it has the formal requirements. And so sometimes business owners do choose to file the C corporation because of that reason. So an S corporation is going to be a little bit different. So it's a delineation from the IRS chartered as a corporation, and the profits and losses pass through to the shareholders on their personal tax returns versus them just filing a tax return for the C corp. So you can be an LLC that is filed, which is typically called a disregarded entity for a single member. And then if you have an LLC that's filed that has multiple members, it normally defaults to a partnership unless you elect to file a different taxation. So that's a conversation that you really want to have with your CPA. Like I said, one of the reasons why when I started off, I said, hey, having a business attorney, having a CPA, it's going to be really important to make sure that you're number one, not you understand the legal liability with your business and with your company. You don't want to be out there doing business and not understanding how your business liability is structured. And then secondly, you don't want to be paying more taxes than you have to be. And so LLC sometimes is not the best entity for everyone. You really, really have to have that conversation and weigh legal and tax benefits. And so I always have that conversation with my clients. We pull in a CPA and we really look at the numbers, we look at what they're trying to do, and we evaluate what's going to be the best entity for them. We don't always just default to LLC because sometimes filing an LLC and then doing a sole proprietorship is not going to be the best entity for you taxable wise. So once again, I always recommend having that conversation, business attorney and your CPA, and then come into a happy medium about what structure you want to choose. Any questions about that?
No questions currently in the chat.
Okay. Everyone's best friend, the LLC. I like the LLC too. I'm a PLLC. I just think that people need to evaluate on whether that's the best structure for their company. I think it's gotten really, really popular um, because it's really informal and it's easy to form. But a lot of times when I encounter clients, I do a lot of cleanup work for LLCs because people can go on and file them with the Secretary of State themselves. Sometimes they don't do all the necessary documents on the back end to make sure that they're incorporated properly. And so, yes, filing on the Secretary of State website is one thing to get your LLC established, but there's some other things that you have to do in order to keep it established and to make sure that it's structured properly. Um, and so an LLC is a hybrid limited liability. It has features of a corporation um, and tax operation features of a partnership. The owners are called members. the owners for corporations are not called members, they're called shareholders, consist of individual, two or more corporations or other LLCs. So one business can own another business, which is one of the reasons why I know my clients like doing it. You really can make it hard with an LLC for people to figure out who owns it. The profits and losses pass through to each member, which I mentioned with the S corp, or whether you're doing a sole proprietorship. Of course, they would automatically go to you. The members are going to report their profits and losses, like owners of a partnership. So one
We
of
do
the
have,
things that I
yeah,
want to mention.
sorry, I thought I was
Did
going
you
to
say?
catch you. We do have a quick question, and you
Okay.
may be getting to it though. We
Okay.
have, can you explain more of a multi-member LLC?
Sure. Okay. What do you want to know? You just want me to include some more details about it. So, a multi-member LLC is going to be an LLC that's owned by more than one person. Um, for a multi-member LLC, um, and for an LLC in general, what I was going to speak to was that you need to have an operating agreement. An operating agreement is necessary for your LLC. On the website, it's going to talk about the ownership and how your LLC is managed in your articles, but it's not going to talk about the percentages or any capital contribution that your LLC has. And so it's a really, really important document. A lot of times for certifications, they require you to have your operating agreement. Sometimes for loans, they will require it, but it really is the brains of your organization. And like I said, if you ever were sued, there's something called piercing the corporate veil. Piercing the corporate veil means that even though I had an organization that was established, I did not treat it like it was separate than myself. So that means I commingled funds. I did not hold any shareholder or membership agreement meetings, and I was really treating my LLC as if we were the same person. And so that is called piercing the corporate veil. It happens all the time, and the result is that if uh, company can get its corporate veil pierced, it doesn't matter that you filed an LLC or not. That means that you still will have personal liability, and they would be able to come to your assets because you were not treating your company as if it were a separate entity. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a separate business bank account for any business, whether you're doing a corporation, um, or an LLC. Did I answer what possible questions you might have had about multiple member LLCs?
Yes, but you also said something about filing. I believe it was something with tax, so it doesn't go into a partnership by default.
Yes. And so I said that that's a conversation um, with an accountant, because you can choose how you want your LLC to be taxed when it has more than one member. Um, you can choose it with a single member as well, but you only have two choices. So you can choose how you want your LLC to be taxed. So you really have to have that conversation with your accountant, in order to talk about what's going to be the best structure for you. I'm, as an attorney, not going to have that conversation. I used to be general counsel for a tax company, so I know a lot more than most attorneys about these structures. But once again, not a tax professional. And so I would default to saying that you really, really need to have a consultation at least with a CPA and decide what's going to be the best structure for you.
Yes, yes, you answered my question. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. I like when I answer the questions, right? Okay, so operation and control, I just kind of wanted to do a basic overview of the entities. So sole proprietor is just going to be controlled by one person. A partnership is going to have equal management rights and control. And you have the option to specify responsibilities and control in a partnership agreement, right? We want to have agreements. But even if you don't, if you have partnered with somebody to make money, the state of Texas says that you're a partnership, which means that you have some liability attached. So one of the things about the partnership is that if one of your partners does something, you didn't approve it, but they're a general partner and y'all didn't have an agreement, you're as good as on the hook as them. It's kind of like a co-conspiracy, right? I didn't do it, but I might have conspired to do it. Well, you're on the hook. So same thing with the general partnership. Limited partnership, the management and control is going to be general partners. And with a corporation with a C and S, the governance is going to be established by bylaws. The shareholders are going to have to approve the articles and the mergers and dissolution of the company and elect directors. The directors are normally responsible for major decisions, including the selection of the company officers. So once again, the corporation is going to be your more formal structure. And with your LLC, the single member, the control is much like a sole proprietorship. It's just you. So unless you appoint an actual manager, then you're going to have that control. And the multi-member is like a limited partnership. Once again, you're going to elect those parties that have responsibilities and control. So just talking about legal liability and really bringing it back, with a sole proprietor, it's unlimited. You and your business are the same person. This is the riskiest way to do business ever. Don't suggest it at all. Partnership, the general partners are going to be fully liable for what happens with the business. Once again, this gives a lot of exposure. You don't want to default to a general partnership, I don't think, without an agreement. And your limited partners are responsible normally for just the investment portion. For a corporation, which is going to be a C and S corp, your shareholders are liable to the extent of investment, which is just their money. Management does incur some personal liability because there's some responsibility that you're going to have to your corporation. With an LLC, it's similar to corporate shareholders. The members are not liable for debts and liabilities, which is why people like the LLCs. Management, once again, is going to incur some personal liabilities just based on their decisions. So, kind of like a quick breakdown. Any questions about that?
None in the chat at this time.
Okay, none in the chat. All right. So, how an attorney can help you. So, one, like I said, I talked to some of my clients and raised the issues that I raised when we first were. Hey, why do you want to go into business? What's your business plan? Because I, of course, want to incorporate your business because that gives me business, but I want to make sure that you have a plan and that you're going to be able to stay in business. I don't want a year from now you not to have done something that you were supposed to do and now your business is terminated or you're bankrupt or something that's going on like that. So I like to talk to people, do a consultation, and help them to think about some things that maybe they didn't think about when they just said, I wanted to start a business. Um, so attorneys, of course, can consult and file the legal structures for your business. And I do suggest that you hire an attorney or at least consult with an attorney when you're getting ready to file a business. Once again, um, business law was the hardest class. You guys would not believe. In law school, a lot of people, it was one of the classes that people asked the most questions about in terms of those business structures and how people can be sued and exposed. It was one of my favorite classes, but it is not as simple as people believe. Filing the certificate with the Secretary of State is only one step in order to making sure that your business is legally established and that you have limited your liability. There's some other things that you have to do. So you want to make sure you know what those things are. And ignorance is never an excuse to get off, with the law. If they don't care if you don't know, they will say that you should have known and you should have done your research if you're going to be a business owner. All right, so provide business contracts for your protection. Um, Love doing contracts. There's contracts that you can provide for your employees that protect your business, with your vendors that make sure you protect your business. A lot of times, if people are hiring people to do something for your business, you want to make sure you define the scope of how they're hiring. Um, Tiffany, can I generally use our contract review as a can I speak to that?
Yes, I am certainly okay with that because I
Okay.
know that that example will help some on the call.
Yeah. So when Tiffany and I were going through a contract, and I was just pointing out some of the provisions and going over and explaining things to her, I think that that was really something that she was like, "Oh, this is what that means, and that's what that means." And I was able to point out some things that I don't think she traditionally would have thought about with reading the contract, right, Tiffany?
Yes. So I'm gonna share a quick testimony with everyone. So,
Okay.
and I think I've shared with you guys that I was in the running for a contract, one of a contract that I had been pursuing for like 7 or 8 months, and it took a lot of patience, and so they finally sent me the contract. And they sent it like really literally at the last minute. And they wanted me to just sign it and send it back that same day. And like my spirit was like, nope, Tiffany, I really think you need to let an attorney look at this. So, I contacted Shakitha and she was telling me, yes, Tiffany, you really should let me look at it, which she did. And I want to let you guys know that I'm so glad that she did because there was language in the contract. To be honest with you, one, I didn't really know what it meant. And two, I'm sure, Shakitha shared with me that it was general language, but general language does not always work for you. So you have to know what is in your best interest because all contracts are written with the best interest of the person who wrote it or submitted it. So I learned so much just from that call, not just about the guidance that she gave me on the contract itself, but she taught me about what to look for in general in the future when I get contracts like that. So there was so much value in that call and in that review.
Thank you, Tiffany. We love our clients, and it's fun for me. My undergrad is in English and music, so I like reading and I like drafting and I love tearing up a contract. That is one of my favorite things to do. So, but yes, when you guys are finding these templates online, somebody has drafted that with their client in mind. So taking a generalized template is not going to do much for you. When I'm intentionally trying to make a contract non-biased, which is rare, it's only when I'm doing a template for parties and I'm trying to be even. But for my clients, I want to make sure that the contract protects my clients to the 20th power. So I'm going to write the contract in favor of my client. It's not going to be unfair, but it's going to have provisions that are for my clients. And so you want to make sure that when you're negotiating a contract, you have somebody that's looking out for your interests. So business contracts are really important. Like I said, templates are not bad. Sometimes you can only afford a template, but if you pull a template, I would say go over it with a business attorney so that you know what's in it. Because drafting is a little bit more expensive, and it takes time, but definitely when you're there as a business owner, you want to make sure that you're investing in your business. And so being able to invest in your products, and your protection of your business is one of the things, it's an expense as a business owner. And attorneys are tax deductible anyways. I mean, we're professional that you can write off at the end of the year. All right. So we can help to structure your business, which we talked about, just helping you to decide what structure is going to be more beneficial to you. And then also assisting you with filing any lawsuits. Hey, if you have a vendor or a client that um, did not honor a contract that you had with them or has done something outside of the scope of something as a business owner that you wanted them to do or infringes on your business rights, then we can file those lawsuits for you. So and then also, lastly, we can act as your registered agent. So that's a really, really important thing, for business owners, is to be able to have an attorney or a lawyer's office act as your registered agent. Because definitely, if somebody looks online and sees that you have an actual law firm as your registered agent, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to think at least twice before suing you because they know that you have some ties or some legal protections with an attorney at least. So Do I have any more questions? And if not, I'm just going to put this slide on the screen where you can connect with me. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and then my website is the sdavislawgroup.com. And so I have a lot of helpful resources on the website, a lot of nuggets and things that I give for free. So definitely connect with me. And thank you. And I will stay and leave some time for some questions, but that's all that I have for my presentation.
All right, so you guys, if you have questions and you haven't put it in the chat, if you are interested in turning on your mic and you want to ask the question yourself, that is perfectly acceptable. I do have one question in the chat first. It says, "What's your registered agent fee if it's general?"
Oh, yes, it is general. So our registered agent fee is an annual fee of 175 a year. And so we file the registered agent paperwork with the Secretary of State. And we make sure that any uh, filings or notices from the state, we forward those to our clients. And of course, if there were a lawsuit, we would get it first.
That is good to know. I am going to add that to my list of things that I need to get taken care of. I just need you to know. Look, I took a deep breath. I was like, oh, I didn't know she did that. And now that I know that, I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we do it for a lot of our business clients. We act as their registered agent and they love it because they know that that's one thing that, they don't have to worry about. A couple of the things that I did want to note that were add-ons was that when you are filing your LLC, if you choose to file it yourself, there's a thing called a Texas franchise tax that you have to make sure that you are filing each year. Texas requires that. A lot of clients, a lot of people that I do consults with cleaning up their business, they go out of business. Their business ends up being involuntarily terminated because they're not filing the franchise tax fees, and some of them just don't know. And so that's something that, as a business owner, you have a responsibility to file, regardless of whether an attorney had filed your LLC or not. That still would be your responsibility unless you've delegated that to somebody else. So that's a really, really important highlight. That and the operating agreement are things that you want to make sure that if you're self-filing an LLC, that you have those completed.
I did want to ask a quick question. So I've had a couple people that have asked, do you draft bylaws or do the operation stuff? Well, I know it's bylaws and articles of incorporation for nonprofit organizations.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I've had a few clients that are nonprofit organizations, CDCs.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Don't be shy. You got an attorney. I carved out my time for you guys, so I'm here. I'll answer it as long as it's not something that's requires me to really, really dig and deep dive into your business to answer that question. But if it's something general, I'll answer.
I was wondering, you say you were in real estate?
Yes, so I do a lot of real estate transactions, contracts, and investments myself. Hmm.
Okay. I was just wondering, how you were involved. Like, are you a realtor or are you an investor?
So I am on the investment side. I do commercial real estate negotiations for my clients. So I have business clients, and I frequently do some negotiations on properties. I think I have like maybe 4 or 5 going right now. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't have to be an actual agent because I am an attorney, and so I operate under my bar license to do those transactions.
Okay. Well, I was just new to the business. I was wondering, could I reach out if I needed help?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So on our website, so you can email me. I think that Tiffany has included that. If it's something general, normally I can answer it. However, we do have a premium on our time as attorneys because you can imagine people are always asking me stuff. So the best way to work with me is to book a consult with me.
Okay.
And those pricings are listed on my website. You can book directly there or call a member of the team at my office. But normally I'm pretty responsive. You know, if it's something that I can quickly generally answer, normally I'll do it if I'm familiar with the person. Best way to really, really get some one on one legal advice is to do a consultation with me.
Okay. And are you a cash buyer?
Hmm?
Are you a cash buyer?
Am I a cash buyer? So I haven't bought anything cash yet, but not close to it. And
Okay.
definitely a lot of my clients do buy real estate cash.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Yeah,
I
you're
wanted
welcome.
to share this because this was one of the things that you shared with me. So for a lot of you, if you need to negotiate your contract for like your lease, if you are getting an office, I just realized like a week or two that she does that. And so a lot of times that, might be something that you might want to consider if you are looking at negotiating the price of the lease, right? Because if you have an attorney that is engaging in the process, a lot of times you'll find that their responses are a lot different than if it's just you doing it for yourself. And I learned that. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you guys, and Shakithia, I hope you're okay with this, but I've sent a couple people to her that she has been very honest, and so I love the fact that she's honest and she's transparent. So I had one client that I sent to her, and she literally told them that the attorney fee was going to be more than what she needed to get engaged for. So the person that owed her something, what they owed, what the attorney's fees would have been more. And so I appreciated the fact that she was one of those people that said, "Hey, you might want to settle this with that person because engaging an attorney might actually cost you more than what it's really worth." And I think that having someone that can give you that kind of honest feedback, but then also if it's something that is going to cost you a sizable amount, I like the fact that she walks you through the benefit of it. She tells you why you need it, how it protects you, and then also how it saves you in the long run. So she is really, really good at explaining the long game. And I think that for me, that was the most important part of what I've always gained from any time that I have used her service. So, the contract wasn't the first time that I used her, but it was the second time. But the second time was really, I was like, yes, I'm using her all the time. I don't trust anybody else other than her. But it was really because she gave me that sense of I felt secure and I trusted her a lot. So, all right, if you guys have more questions, please, it's okay to turn your mic on and ask. We got about
Uh,
another 10 minutes.
I got a question, Johnny. As far as real estate, what requires in Texas, is a license required to buy and sell? Do I have to be an agent?
Um, yeah, so yes, in Texas, there is a license. So, being you have to either be a licensed realtor or you have to be an attorney. Now, if you are doing, there is such a thing called wholesale, like where there's a a time in the transaction where it's exchanging, but you're not actually representing, you would be a person's agent. And so that there are some particular requirements to that, so that's how sometimes people get around it. But yeah, just if you're actually going to be brokering a transaction, then it is required that you're an agent with a brokerage. And that's just the whole
Well,
thing.
let me kind of rephrase that. Say I buy a lot, build on the lot, and sell the house. Does that require me to be an agent?
If it's yours.
Yeah, if it's mine
No, so that's an
through my
exception to
company.
the rule. Yeah, so typically that rule applies if you're representing another party.
Oh yeah, no, it would be my own. Everything would be my own.
Mm-mm. No, you don't have to have one, but I recommend all the time that people either get a realtor or you get a real estate attorney.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
And the reason why I say that is not just because you're trying to get money from you, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on with transactions until you do a few and get a few under your belt that you might miss, that you could have at least learned that or saved you the money that you're trying to save on, not paying somebody.
I will have an attorney. I haven't hired one yet. I will take you into consideration. Um, yeah, I haven't hired one yet, but I'm not going to do anything without one.
Yeah, definitely. At least to look over the agreement.
I'm just building capital right now to make my own purchases.
Okay. Definitely want to look into a lot of people do uh real estate, where they create an LLC and create like an investment club and stuff like that. So that's definitely something to look into, is pooling money together, if that's, something that you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm interested in that too.
Yeah, a lot of clients do it. I've heard a few people, I'm always thinking about like strategy and ways to make money, right? So
Right.
I've heard a lot of people on this call, they're like, oh, I have a real estate company. I have a real estate company. So you can buy bigger projects if you actually, pool your money together and, work together, and you create an LLC or you create a corporation specifically for that. And Texas is really generous with its real estate laws and deductions.
Well, I actually I've invested with different people that do real estate. I've invested percentages in, and I've got returns on them.
It's a good
Just
thing.
me being and that's just me being a non-accredited investor.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's good stuff. I enjoy real estate. I think that it's one of the ways that you're able to make money and get really into a different, acquire wealth. Um, it's one of the stepping stones, I believe, to acquiring wealth, if you can find the right properties and the right investments.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question I missed in the chat. It's from Julia. It says, which would be best for an LMT? I want a one day sell product and I'm sorry, one product and add other businesses later. I'm not sure what LMT is, but I'm sure that Julia can share with you what that is. But that's the question I have in the chat. Hey, Julia, can you turn your mic on and clarify on that question? Because I'm not sure what an LMT is.
Please forgive me. I was just running my mouth and my mic was closed and my screen was closed. I'm cleaning my bed off. I'm about to get my taxes ready. But a licensed massage therapist is my business that I've had for a number of years, which I absolutely love. And I've just gotten my certification as an aromatherapist. I'm looking at building businesses in Nashville, which is why I'm so grateful to be a part of Unity is Wealth, because I'm wearing my sweatshirt. It's kind of getting old, but I'm still wearing it. But I was just wondering which one of the corporation-y things would be best for me. Right now, I'm a sole proprietor, and knock on wood, I've been really super fortunate. I do my job and do my job well, so I've not had a lot of issues with anyone. I've not had any issues, but I'm wanting to add things later, like selling more product with essential oils, and then I'm looking into real estate just a little bit, just like this much, not much, but just that much. So which one would I be able to look at? And before I say that, Tiffany, I really do appreciate you. You are stinking awesome. And I see some other faces I recognize. Okay, I'm done. My bad.
Thank you. So you want to know what structure you think would be best for your LMT business?
Yes, I actually looked today, and I looked at LegalZoom. Don't shoot me. I just ask questions. And then when I saw the email, I was like, score, because usually I'm not off on Mondays. I'm usually working all the time. But what I'm looking at is I want to, first of all, work with people who look like me. And then I want to build with people who look like me. So not that I don't love other people. I do,
Yeah, we love everybody, but we build our communities, right?
Yes.
So I would not answer that publicly, but if
Okay.
you want to talk or schedule a consult,
Okay.
I definitely would not mind providing you like a reduced link, especially for those who attended this. I will put in a like a special code so that you can get a reduced consultation with me if you're interested. Just because I would need to know more about your business, don't want to have to ask you those questions publicly.
Okay. So I think Tiffany said that go to your website and go through there to come back around, right?
Yes. Yeah, so you can send us messages on the site. You can actually book on the site, but I'm actually going to put a special code. So if you guys give me about 30 minutes, I'll put a code that'll help you to get a discount.
And it will be with you, correct?
Oh yeah, you can go to the drop down and pick.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So I did put the website in the chat. I hope everybody sees it. And I heard somebody call my name, and we also have another question.
I said the difference in structure and benefits of a co-op or investment group. Yes, I have formed them and do know some of the differences. Don't ask me right now because it's gonna have to be in front of me for me to really go through it. But yes, have done it before a while ago.
Okay. And I know you're gonna create a special code for the group. Question. How will I know what it is to tell them? Because they get everything via email. So
I'll probably make it Unity, but I'll send it to you and confirm. But yeah,
okay, that'd be easy.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay,
I'll
cool,
send the
cool.
link and the code to you, so that way.
Okay, and then I'll send it to the team and ask them that if they'll send a follow-up email out to everyone that so that they can have it.
Yep, definitely.
All right, you guys. So it is 9:20. So we have just a couple more minutes because I want to make sure that she gets some rest and I need to get some rest too. But if you have any additional questions, turn your mic on. Make sure you ask them or drop them in the chat, and we'll make sure that we get them answered for you. So I just want to tell you thank you because this was I learned something. Even though I know you've gone over a lot of this stuff with me before, I've learned something again through just listening to you again this time. So I appreciate you.
That's why I do what I do. I love what I'm doing. Not just about the money. Although we do like making money. We like making money, but it's not just about the money.
I'm hoping, so we are doing these calls like in order. So that was kind of one of the reasons why we asked you to start early, in the year, because we were kind of thinking for those that don't have their business structured, it would be good for them to touch base with an attorney who could help, who could help them in that way. And so, but I do know that I'd love to ask you to come back at some point and give us some kind of instruction, whatever you want to give us about intellectual property, because I know that we have a lot of artists on this call. We have a lot of people that are in media, and we have a lot of people that are well, they may not have finished, but they are writing books, and so they could use a little bit in that arena. We do have a question. It says, my teenage daughter wants to open a business. What steps would they need to take, or would she have to file the business in her own name for her daughter or his daughter? I'm sorry, I don't know. It's a Zoom user.
I would need to know the age, and also where they're located at. So, that probably would be a better question to. Maybe I can send an email about that one because I would have some more follow-up questions. He said teenager, but are we talking under 16 or?
All right, so Zoom user, I see the question, and that one might be one that you may want to take offline and maybe send an email because there's some follow-up questions, like she wanted to know what state you're in, and then also, the age of your daughter.
Mm-hmm. But there's some things I can generally say, depending on what the age is, that's gonna be a factor. Also, a lot of people set up trusts so they can kind of maintain some type of power control, and then it's a beneficiary type situation. So 14 in Texas. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I definitely will want to answer that offline. I'll keep that in mind. Email me. So I'll look out for this email.
And I put the email up there too, you guys. It is info@sdavislawgroup.com. But I also put the link to the website. And if you go to the website, their email address is there as well under contact. So that should make it easier for you guys. Oh, thank you for putting it in there again.
And please, I get emails all the time. This is like a general email, and then my assistant goes through that. So please, you want to place the Unity training in the subject line so that it goes and it gets directed to the right place. Can I go over trust in general? That I think would be too long of a conversation for this evening.
So literally, I was
when I come back, invite me back.
I literally was going to tell them that, and I was like, well, no, I think that she's probably going to answer that. So yeah, you guys, talking about trust, like there are different types of trust. So it really depends on how they're set up and what you want to achieve. And I can be honest with you guys, I was on like a 2-hour call with a guy that talked about trust, and he didn't even scratch the surface. So we would definitely have to come back and chat with you guys about that, because tonight was really about business structure, with the purpose of, for those of you that haven't started a business, to make sure that you understand what your options are. But then also for those of you that have started a business, I wanted to make sure that y'all hear when she said not to be commingling your funds, like Tiffany says that all the time. But again, making sure that you guys understand that. So just, but I promise you guys that I'm going to talk to her about getting her on. Now, what I will tell you is the amazing part about asking people to join you again is that if some of the people from the call actually reach out to her, and, schedule a consult, that always makes it that kind, that makes people say, hey, that's a good group of people. They actually are, engaging, and they accepted the gift and they gifted me back. So just keep that in mind, just letting you guys know. But yeah, I'm definitely going to invite her to come back and share a couple more nuggets with us. So it is 9:25, and I literally made myself a promise that we were going to get this call would be done by 9:30, because Tiffany has some things that she has to get done. So, hey, Pop, if you're still on, you have a note in the chat that says, hey, Pop, she has a quick question about Unity as well. So if you could send Julia an email, that would be awesome. And I just want to thank you,
Tiffany.
Attorney Davis.
Tiffany,
Yes.
I have a question before we close. Did you see my question about franchise tax?
No, I did. Let me scroll back up there and go see. I might have missed it. I'm sorry. Hold on. I did not mean to miss your question. Hold on.
No, I wanted to know what's the time frame on which you have to do franchise tax before they can actually take your company from you, your name.
So normally it's a couple of years. They'll normally give you a grace period because it's that next year after your company was open. And so typically they'll give you a grace period, but that following year, normally they're starting to put some things in process. But I've seen a couple of people go like 2 or 3 years without it, but you don't want to do that. So normally at that 2-year mark, they're going to put you in default. So you don't want your stuff to be involuntarily terminated. Then you got to go through paying late fees. And if you file late and you miss the deadline, there's an automatic $50 fee for that. So you definitely want to make sure that you're filing it.
So just to let you guys know, if you don't know, the date is May 15th. Before May 15th is when you are required to file it. And she is correct. If you file it late, it is $50 that they automatically assess, and you'll know because when you go in to log in, it will actually, because you can do it online or you can send back the postcard that they send you. But why is that important? First of all, I want to make sure you guys understand that when she mentioned registered agent, the thing that's important about that is that if you have a registered agent, those things go to your attorney and the attorney notifies you of it. if you don't have a registered agent, and if you did your paperwork yourself, and if you put an address on your paperwork that you are no longer at, and you've not done the forwarding of your mail anywhere, that information could potentially be going to an old address. So as a business owner, it is very important that you make sure that your addresses are consistent, and you make sure that if you're moving your office, you want to make sure that you are, doing a change of address. Or for $175 a year, which is a humongous savings for you as a business owner to just even not have to worry about that. You could get a registered agent that could help you with that. Now, I will tell you guys, if it's for those of you that are on the Have a Nonprofit, it is, they will revoke you after 3 years. So after the 3rd year of not filing your 990 easy form, they file a revocation. And like she said, it's 2 to 3 for your for-profit, but you need to do that every year, no matter what. And keep in mind, it's not that hard to fill out. Sakitha, who would you suggest should help them with filing that form? Is that an attorney thing or an accountant thing? Because mine is
Both
easy.
can do it. Yeah, both can do it. I actually normally have to go and fill it out to reinstate my clients. But I would say if you have a CPA or an accountant, they normally will prompt their clients. Like for us, we normally prompt our clients and put a little reminder in for the ones that we've incorporated just as a courtesy. So, but you actually need them to, an attorney can do it, or either the CPA. It just depends on the scope of their services.
Okay. And Shakitha, I'm going to have them put Unity is Wealth training.
Okay.
Okay, just so you can know. So that's how we usually use UIW for Unity as well. That's kind of how we've been operating. So you guys, if you send an email, please make sure that you include either Unity as Wealth or UIW training in the subject line, so that she can identify that it was this wonderful group of people. And thank you, Ms. Darby, for making sure that I saw. I did miss that question, and I apologize for that. So I'm always looking out for you. All right. So if you guys don't have anything else, I want to thank you. It is 9:30. I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to seeing and talking to you guys again next week on Monday. If you have any follow-up questions, you are always welcome to email me, of course, but you're also welcome. If it's a follow-up question, you can answer Shakitha. She'll definitely let you know if it's something that you have to schedule a consultation for. But I want to share this with you guys. Understand that if you have to schedule a consult, number one, it's worth it, because she gives you information that will put you in a situation that will let you know long term. The other thing is that I say this: it's worth the investment to pay to get the attorney to tell you what to do than to do it wrong and have to pay to fix it. I can guarantee you that when a client goes to Attorney Davis to fix something that they tried to handle themselves, it costs more on the back end than what it would have cost if you engage the attorney in the beginning. And the other thing you want to keep in mind is this is your business, and your business should be important enough to you for you to protect it. I do understand that there are lots of things that we want to do on our own. I get that. But I will tell you, like, Pop says all the time, it's an investment. It's currency. It's energy. You have to put that kind of energy into your business and know that going forward, you are better. You're better equipped to be better in your business. So just want to share that with you guys. All right. So I love you guys, and I enjoyed talking with you guys. And like I always tell you, I don't know if I've been telling you that lately, but I want you to be intentional. It is 2021. Be intentional about your business. Be intentional about moving forward and growing and evolve, elevate this year. Have a good evening, you guys.
Peace.